right, back again and complaining about the same old stuff. But I gotta say, something that really upset me over the last week, and I promise not to rant, but so last week I was watching a guy on YouTube, and he's like a Protestant Baptist backwoods down home kind of guy. And I really like his channel. I watch him a lot, and he's got some, some very common sense stuff usually. And he devoted an entire episode to why Catholics are wrong. And I was like, first off, it wasn't right, really. He had a lot of things that weren't correct, but it was just seemed a little unnecessary. But I thought, you know what? Baptists are going to Baptist. That's what they do, and they don't like Catholics, and that's fine. So laughed it off, rolled with it, and then I was traveling, and I was talking to a friend of mine who's a devout Protestant. He was showing me his new AI app that's got, it's like the entire Bible in a thing, and you can scroll it up, any topic, it gives you the good Christian interpretation. He pulls it up, and he's immediately on he had it queued up to some dissertation there about some teaching about how Catholics were wrong, and I was like, all right, that kind of hurts because we're kind of friends, but you know what, it's fine. So I rolled on, I did the whole, it's a little more nuanced than that, and then so I went to the Orthodox service with my girlfriend, and afterward was talking to a guy, hit it off, having a great conversation, and we're talking about all kinds of stuff, and about 10 minutes into it, he goes off on the tangent about how wrong Catholics are. And, I'd already introduced myself as the Catholic boyfriend. So I thought, well, that's a little tacky for somebody you don't even know. But, but it all started to kind of add up. And I thought, man, people are mean to Catholics. And then so I'm flying home and, I queue up my favorite podcast, this Catholic podcast. And there's 3 hours of two Catholic guys talking, and one of them is this very learned scholar, and he's talking about how bad the Novus Ordo is, and how that they're the wrong kind of Catholic, and how the only way you're not pretty terrible is if you're straight Latin man. And the guy goes on for like 3 hours, and it's just it just seemed really disheartening. And all I could think is we live in a world where everything is so hostile to faith. Every element of our society just does nothing but scream how stupid we are for believing anything, right? Because here I am, it's a Saturday and I'm about to go to confession and mass. Why would I do that? I could be out, I don't know, buying something. And you're just surrounded by this all the time. And here we are just slitting each other's throats every chance we get. And it really got disheartening, because I can tell you right now, all of that discussion about, Catholic bad, it didn't make me want to not be a Catholic. It made me question faith in general, right? It weakened my faith, because it was just an extra chorus on top of the world that just tells me how stupid I am every day for believing and for doing any of the things I do. Why would you limit yourself? And so if you're going to talk to somebody, especially a fellow Christian of a different denomination, man, save the aggression for, I don't know, if you find like a Church of Satan somewhere, then you know what? Come out with all of your implements and tools and everything. But if you're talking to a fellow Christian, even if they're of a different denomination, different belief, even if you don't really agree with their stuff, if they believe in Jesus Christ as the redemptive Savior of mankind, if they believe in the Trinity, you know what? Everything else you can work around. So just show a little grace, and I don't know, maybe don't do the world's work for it. I just can't see that that's the Spirit leading you to like correct your fellow Christian. No, that's the downstairs neighbor, buddy. You're working for the wrong side if you're going to go off on that. It was frustrating. It took me like a day to shake that out of my head. And so I just want to throw that out there. I just can't believe in this day and age, when everything is geared against us, we are so busy slitting each other's throats and just, going to it. Right now in Africa, Nigeria right now, there are like hundreds of martyrs being made every month. And I'm not just talking about Catholics, because there's a lot of Pentecostals and Baptists there too. Literally rounding them up and cutting their heads off. And we're gonna start pointing fingers and talking about how terrible this guy is because he doesn't kneel for the Eucharist, or how terrible they are because I am just dumbfounded. So just don't do that. Oh my gosh. I just want to open my TV up and just look at it and say, you know what? Just stop. Just stop. So let's don't do that. I'm going to try not to. And I hope that, I don't even know what I hope. Anyhow, I'm frustrated. Now I got myself all wrapped around the axle again. Promise I'm good. I just thought that was something worth talking about. God bless, and y'all take care.